This is the anthem. Here's what you came for.
Welcome to the Disney Beat, a podcast brought to you by thedisinsider.com. My name is Sean Nyberg, and I will be covering all of the Disney headlines to keep you informed as you start your week.
Happening right now.
Hello there, this is Sean Nyberg, and this podcast is being recorded on the evening of Sunday, January 10th, 2021. All right, let's dive into the news. I have to start by recognizing that this week has been a horrible and scary week for the United States. The domestic terrorist attacks on Wednesday has left all of us shaken and saddened. Those of us at the Disinsider ceased any stories on Wednesday out of respect, and the other podcast that I co-host took the week off from recording. The banter and humor that comes with Disney podcasts did not seem appropriate on the same day our nation mourned. Those of us here at the Disney Beat and at the Disinsider send our condolences to the two police officers who have lost their lives defending our capital. We send our love and well wishes to the injured officers and personnel and pray to whomever you choose to pray to that peace can be maintained, justice comes swift and severe, and that our country can grow stronger moving forward. Now, that awkward transition from something very serious and sullen to something more lighthearted. So everyone... All right, let's talk Disney. We actually have some park news this week. While Walt Disney World, Shanghai Disneyland, and Tokyo Disney Resort have remained open, major news about projects and operations have been a bit sparse. There is a lot of uncertainty in the industry right now, but we expect once COVID-19 numbers improve with vaccine distributions, the Disney Parks news will be coming fast, and we will be here to cover all of it. I have a feeling it's going to be a very park-heavy news cycle this spring and summer. I can't wait. I'm very, very much looking forward to it. This week did bring some news, though. We learned from the recently retired famed Imagineer Joe Rohde that the Disney California Adventure ride Guardians of the Galaxy Mission Breakout in Disneyland had a number of Marvel properties in the running for the retheme. So roughly 5 years ago, the Tower of Terror drop ride in DCA was closed in anticipation of a retheme. Lead Imagineer Joe Rohde told Disney's official fan club D23 that they looked at making it a Spider-Man ride as well as a potential Doctor Strange ride. The plan was always to retheme it after a Marvel property to act as the first step in the transition to the new land, Avengers Campus. Rohde had a fully formed idea for Doctor Strange, and when it came to Spider-Man, he kind of struggled with a concept, feeling that the character of Spider-Man needed more of a footprint, more of a wide footprint for guests to move horizontally to really come up with a Spider-Man ride, right? Like Tower of Terror is so vertical, it's up and down, it's a drop ride, and that doesn't really suit Spider-Man's motion of swinging side to side. So regardless, they settled on, they decided that the drop ride vehicles was a perfect fit for the whimsy and humor from the Guardians of the Galaxy movies. And I don't think it hurt that the first Guardians film did so well in the box office. But don't fret if you are a fan of Spider-Man or Doctor Strange. Spider-Man will have his own ride once the Anaheim theme parks can open back up. It's called Web Slinger, a Spider-Man adventure. And Doctor Strange will be featured in an outdoor interactive experience in the same land, Avengers Campus, over at Disney California Adventure. So it works out for everyone. The change from Tower of Terror was initially met with a lot of fan pushback, shocking, but the response to Guardians Mission Breakout has been overwhelmingly positive, proving once again that Disney Imagineers know exactly what they're doing. I do love this ride. It's one that I do have to, think a little bit more about when I do it, just because of the dropping motion, with the, the older you get, sometimes your stomach can't handle as much, but I really do enjoy it as long as I've eaten beforehand, but not right beforehand. So yeah, it's just really interesting to hear that at one point, they were looking at potential Doctor Strange or Spider-Man themes. I would love to see, especially the Doctor Strange one. that they had that Rhodey had envisioned, and just didn't envision in his head, sketched out. So hopefully one day we'll get that. This last week we also got word of a potential change for a huge Disney theme park land. So rumors from highly reliable sources have indicated that Disney might do away with the strict timeline associated with their Star Wars themed land, Galaxy's Edge. The land has been open in both Disneyland and Walt Disney World since summer 2019. The land is considered canon with the films and is set in the sequel trilogy timeline. So if you don't follow Star Wars that closely, the sequel trilogy is the last three Skywalker films released by Disney. So The Force Awakens, The Last Jedi, and The Rise of Skywalker. Those last three are the sequel trilogy, and Galaxy's Edge fits in that timeline. And that's why we see characters like Kylo Ren, Rey, and Chewbacca making appearances around the land, right? Because this is supposed to be taking place during that time. The recent explosive success, however, of the Disney Plus's The Mandalorian has created a bit of a problem for Galaxy's Edge. The most successful Star Wars project since Disney took over Lucasfilms takes place years prior to the time they set for Galaxy's Edge, creating a bit of an issue for promoting the series within the parks. While the domestic parks still rely on other areas of the parks, such as Tomorrowland in Disneyland and Hollywood Studios down in Florida, to sell merchandise for Luke Skywalker and Darth Vader, it becomes a problem when they need to use these non-Galaxy's Edge lands to sell the hottest Star Wars merchandise and provide the most sought-after meet and greets. This desire for synergy between the parks and the media has really butted up against Disney's desire to set a strict timeline for Galaxy's Edge and stick to it. According to many within the company, the desire for synergy is likely to win out in this struggle. They are not going to put original characters like Luke, Leia, and Vader in Galaxy's Edge, but they seem to be prepared to fudge the timeline just a little bit to allow The Mandalorian and the upcoming Boba Fett series to have a home there. I, Sean Nyberg, personally like this decision. I love what they've done with Galaxy's Edge. I love Galaxy's Edge. It's one of my favorite places to sit around the park. I love everything about it. And I think the decision to set it after the original trilogy was smart. But being so strict with that timeline that Baby Yoda and Mando himself could not appear because of 20 years or so is a bit ridiculous. A tiny fraction of visitors even realize the timeline, and fudging things by a small margin either way will only make the land more enjoyable. It was also revealed that a new mission for Millennium Falcon Smuggler's Run won't likely be available until 2024. The current version is the same in both parks, and unlike Star Tours, there currently are not multiple missions that are selected randomly. While another 3 years of the same mission seems like a long time, the interactivity of the attraction keeps each ride somewhat unique. It will be interesting to see how the land evolves with so many new Star Wars projects in the works. I feel the land will adjust to accommodate the new content, as it should. So, there's no secret that Galaxy's Edge was a response, really, to Universal Studios' success with the Harry Potter land, right? And so when they did Galaxy's Edge, they really wanted to do the whole full immersive experience. And they were successful with that. But by doing that, they had to set a timeline, right? The whole land had its own story behind it. And it spurred books and all these, this whole world, right? A new planet, a new outpost, and a new story. And that's fabulous, and it makes for a really great experience. But the problem is that unless these upcoming movies or TV shows take place right during that timeline, then there's no place for them in Galaxy's Edge. And that's kind of a problem, right? The fact that if you go to the Disney parks, as of right now, Baby Yoda is nowhere in Galaxy's Edge, which is, quote unquote, Star Wars land, which is crazy, right? And so, I know there's not going to be a Darth Vader walking around because that takes place way before this timeline. But I think they need to loosen things up a little bit to allow things like Boba Fett and The Mandalorian, Baby Yoda, and whatever comes from season 3 of The Mandalorian to be, to be walking around and available for pictures and all that fun stuff that people go to the theme parks for. So, this is, it's might be a small story to some people, but some of us who really follow the Disney parks and know how much they stuck to that, how strong the Disney was in terms of this story and the timeline of Galaxy's Edge. We all knew it was going to have to break down just a little bit, but I think some of us are surprised that it happened so soon. But I think it all just stems from the success of The Mandalorian. We all knew it was going to be a hit, but no one expected it to be as big as it's become. One of the biggest television shows on television. So that's that. Over at Epcot in Walt Disney World, there is a big new ride being built that everyone is very excited for. It is another Guardians of the Galaxy themed ride. The other one being in Anaheim. This one's over in Orlando, Florida. And this one's called Guardians of the Galaxy Cosmic Rewind. It is a storytelling roller coaster with a vehicle that pivots as it rides along the track. We've talked about this often in this podcast. This is a huge new addition and has actually been pushed into 2022 for an opening date due to delays attributed to COVID-19. Many aspects of this attraction will feature filmed sequences from the cast of the film, including, the queue and the ride, right? So there's going to be film sequences with characters from the film. And this originally was planned to be captured while they were filming the upcoming James Gunn directed Guardians of the Galaxy film. But that project has been delayed due to the pandemic. So what we've learned, so you've got all that background, right? Everyone's with me right now. But what we learned this last week was that portions for this ride is now going to be filmed by Taika Waititi, the writer and director, Taika Waititi, with the Guardians cast as he films the upcoming Thor film. Got that? Thor and the Guardians crew interact in their shared Marvel universe, and they do so in the upcoming film. And since the project is filming already, they just decided to use that as an opportunity to film the necessary video for the ride. Got it all? I feel like, that meme from It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia when he's got all the strings connected and he's like, this is the whole plan. So, this is just, if none of that made sense, just know this is good news for those of us who are looking forward to this ride being completed. However, it's not likely to fast track the current 2022 timeline to 2021 because really the delays in that are essentially associated to trying to spread costs out over a number of years due to, a large chunk of income not coming in from the parks because of COVID. So, so it looks like they're going to get their filmed sequences done, the next week or so when they're filming Thor. This week brought us a number of casting announcements and rumors. It has been, so we've got, what do we have here? I think 6. Hang tight. It has been reported that Nick Offerman, the actor and comedian Nick Offerman of NBC's Parks and Recreation and husband of Megan Mullally, has been offered the role of Smee in the upcoming live-action remake of Peter Pan and Wendy. It appears that Elijah Richardson of King Jack is set to appear in Marvel's The Falcon and the Winter Soldier Disney Plus series. He'll be playing Eli Bradley, also known as the Patriot, in a 2-episode run. Actress Noma Dumezweni. Actress Noma Dumezweni looks to have secured the role of Athena in the upcoming live-action remake of The Little Mermaid. Athena is Ariel's mother, as well as the Queen of Atlantica. Dumezweni is best known for playing Hermione on Broadway. So there's a lot of interest in this upcoming Little Mermaid live-action remake. We do know that it is back in production. It shut down like it was planning to start full-on filming days before COVID forced the studios to shut down last March. So they've got things going, starting back up in December. And, looks like we're going to get Ariel's going to get a mother in this one. I can't remember if in the animated film obviously her father, King Triton, was a big character. I don't even know if her mother was there. I don't think not everyone, the people who know are yelling at me. She might have shown up in that beginning sequence with her sisters, but she did not have a prominent role. So they cast that role, and it looks like Noma Dumezwini will be playing the role. And I'm very much looking forward to this film. It's getting so much buzz among Disney fans. They're just really looking forward to seeing how they do this. So in the upcoming Steve Martin and Martin Short Hulu series, Only Murders in the Buildings, that's the name of the series, Only Murders in the Buildings, so it was already announced that Selena Gomez will be in the series along with Martin Short and Steve Martin. But Steve Martin, not Steve Martin. So we know now Steve Martin, Martin Short, and Selena Gomez will be in the series. This week it was revealed that Academy Award nominee Amy Ryan will be joining the all-star cast. Amy Ryan is best known for her work as Holly Flax on NBC's The Office, as well as supporting roles in Gone Baby Gone and Birdman. She actually got nominated for an Academy Award for her role in the movie Gone Baby Gone. So, this upcoming movie, this upcoming series for Hulu, Only Murders in the Building, is being written by Steve Martin, and I love Steve Martin. I love Martin Short. They definitely were the generation before me, but to me, they're they're the funniest duo out there, and singularly, they're just as funny. I personally I think Martin Short is one of the greatest people out there. I think he's hilarious. I think he's kind. I think he's talented. He's nice. He's everything. So I'm really looking forward to this series. It's very interesting, especially, finding out that Steve Martin is writing it. So that's coming to Hulu soon. Young actor Oakes Fegley, Fegley, Oakes Fegley, is set to play the role Lampwick in the upcoming live-action remake of Pinocchio. Fegley played Pete in the 2016 remake of Pete's Dragon and appeared alongside Robert De Niro in last year's The War with Grandpa. The live-action remake of Pinocchio has the working title of Maestro and is being directed by Robert Zemeckis and will star Tom Hanks as Geppetto. This is another one of those live-action remakes that we've discussed a number of times on this podcast. I'm very much looking forward to it because I love everything Pinocchio and I love Tom Hanks. And Robert Zemeckis is a fantastic filmmaker, Who Framed Roger Rabbit, Forrest Gump, and about a million other ones that are probably better than those that I'm just not thinking of right now. So, so it looks like we got a young actor signed to Lampwick. So we learned also we learned this just today, hot off the presses, that actress Kristen Ritter will come back to the Marvel Cinematic Universe as Jessica Jones. The TV series Jessica Jones ended in 2019 after 3 seasons, and Ritter played the title character Jessica Jones. It is being reported that she'll be making an appearance in the upcoming Disney Plus Marvel series She-Hulk. So, that was just announced today. This is going to kind of transition us into the next story about WandaVision, but we are, after a year of no Marvel releases, 2020, obviously everything was kind of postponed and stuff, and we're going to get a lot of new Marvel content coming up, and it's going to really kick off this next phase of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, where a lot of these series on Disney Plus and a lot of these movies are going to be really kind of all part of one universe. They're all going to tie together, which is going to be really cool. So, we have Jessica Jones. She's coming back for She-Hulk, which She-Hulk's going to be tied into all these other projects. So it's really just going to be kind of a new dawn for the Marvel Disney juggernaut. So it's really exciting. And transitioning there, we are getting a ton of WandaVision news, as the huge Marvel Disney Plus series WandaVision is set to be released this Friday, January 15th. The first reviews of the series are rolling in and critics are raving. The style of the show is going to be so unique, and the critics were only granted screeners for the first 3 episodes, which is standard, and the response has been overwhelmingly positive. We also learned that the series will be 9 episodes, and a new trailer debuted a new song for the show that was written by Frozen, Frozen 2, and Coco's songwriters Kristen, Anderson-Lopez, and Robert Lopez. The duo behind Let It Go, Remember Me, Do You Want to Build a Snowman, Show Yourself, Into the Unknown, you know, basically all those songs from all those movies I just listed. And Robert Lopez actually worked on Book of Mormon, which is not quite as Disney, but yeah, interesting. So they're working on new songs for the show, which is not a musical or anything, don't get me wrong. So but the new series premieres this Friday on Disney Plus, and this WandaVision will be a catalyst for the next chapter of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. No, your device did not skip back. I am repeating myself. With many of the upcoming films and series being tied together and through this series, so don't miss out. It's not one of those things that you're gonna have to know anything about these characters. So I know a lot of people out there. Not a lot, obviously there's a lot of people out there who don't have a history with Marvel. And what's nice is that this will be a good chance to just kind of start fresh and get to know this next phase in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. So that comes out this Friday. Do not miss it. Okay, just at least give it a couple episodes. In other Marvel Disney Plus news, it looks like the upcoming Loki series, which will debut in May, has already been picked up for a 2nd season. Michael Waldron, the showrunner for Loki, and he is also the screenwriter for the upcoming Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness movie. He has signed a new overall deal with Disney. The Disney deal reportedly signs Waldron on to work on the upcoming Kevin Feige Star Wars film, but it also locks him into working on season 2 of Loki. This sort of confidence in a television series is a little unheard of. Especially interesting since there is no word yet if WandaVision or The Falcon and the Winter Soldier will have 2nd seasons. So those are the 2 other Marvel series coming in the next few months, leaving many to wonder if WandaVision and The Falcon and Winter Soldier are meant to be one-off series, so there won't be like multiple seasons, or if they're just planning to decide to have multiple seasons depending on the viewership. So that's why it's so strange, though, that Loki doesn't even come out season 1 until May, and they already are working in season 2 into contracts right now. So, this makes us all even more excited for Loki, especially seeing as Disney has so much confidence in the first season that they're already locking in people for the 2nd season. What is it? 4.5 months before it even debuts. So, now, I am very happy to report that a project I have planned for the Disinsider is finally starting this week. Now, I realize that's kind of a big build-up, right? It's just, okay. It's the ultimate tournament of rides. Again, the ultimate tournament of rides for the Disneyland Resort. The tournament begins this week. It is a bracket-style, single elimination tournament to determine the best ride at the Disneyland Resort. This includes both Disneyland and Disney California Adventure. Since Star Wars Rise of the Resistance and Galaxy's Edge was only open for 2 months prior to the pandemic shutdown, it has been left off of this year's tournament. It will appear next year, though. There are 6 rounds to narrow the 52 rides down to a final championship round. The voting will be taking place on a number of platforms, including the Disinsider.com, my Twitter handle at Sean Nyberg, SeanNyberg, along with the Twitter handle for the website at the Disinsider. You can also vote in the Instagram and the Facebook stories, and they both are at the Disinsider. The votes will be tallied from each source and added together. The tournament starts today, when you hear this, Monday, January 11th, and it will continue through the end of the month. So make sure you vote for your favorite rides and keep up with the bracket at the Disinsider. My plan is to replicate this tournament next month for Walt Disney World, assuming everything goes smoothly with Disneyland. So go, let your voice be heard, check in every day with the Twitter accounts or the website and just see kind of, how your favorite rides are doing and make sure to vote, just because we really want a wide range of opinions. So it's not just kind of, just our little group of friends or even just not just diehard Disney fanatics. We want to hear from everyone. People who maybe love the movies and just go to the parks more casually. We'd love to hear, we want to hear that perspective too. So, yep, I'm really excited for this. It's going to be a labor of love. So it looks like we're going to do voting Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursdays. There'll be different matchups. And then I will announce everyone who won Thursday night. And then then we'll go quiet for the weekend. And then the next Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday will be the next round of voting. So that should take us about 3 or 4 weeks if we do it that way. So go check that out. Finally, in closing, I want to remind everyone to stay safe out there. This last week, we have had our focus rightfully on the domestic terrorist attacks in Washington, D.C., but it is important to note that just because the news cycle is finite and a large immediate news story takes up time usually devoted to COVID-19 coverage, that doesn't mean the COVID-19 pandemic is no longer an issue. In fact, the numbers are just continuing to spike with record deaths and new cases being reported daily. Vaccines are being produced, approved, and delivered, but there will be some lag time before we can all reap the benefits of modern medicine. During that time, thousands and thousands will die and millions will suffer. I just want everyone out there to stay safe for themselves and their neighbors. I want everyone to survive until we get to the other side of this thing. It has been a very trying and terrible 10 months for most people, but the end is in sight. Stay vigilant for yourself, your family, and your community. On behalf of myself and those of us here at the Disney Beat, along with the Disney Insider, we wish everyone good health and prosperity. Our country is in our hearts right now. And with that, I just want to say thank you for listening. If you like the show, please rate and review it on Apple Podcast, Spotify, Stitcher, or wherever else you listen. The ratings really help the show find new listeners. Also ask that you share this podcast with your friends who love Disney. All stories can be found on thedisinsider.com. Follow us on Twitter and Instagram and Facebook at the handle The Disney Insider. You can follow me, Sean Nyberg, on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram at Sean Nyberg, SeanNyberg, all one word. Sean, like Sean Connery, spelled properly. I also co-host the Disney podcast, Walt's Apartment, that comes out every Thursday, and the Disney Parks themed podcast, Extra Magic Hour, which is released every other week. So check those out. Thank you again for listening, and I will see you here again next week for another edition of the Disney Beat podcast. My name is Sean Nyberg. Have a fantastic week.